Woo! Bill Bedenbaugh has had an amazing last 2 weeks. I want to talk about his latest set of recruits, Heath Uzzeita, Caden Green, as well as Logan Howland. All that coming up here in just a minute. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we're talking college football, OU football, and honestly sports in general. Thank you all for tuning in. In this video, we're going to dive right into the latest set of recruits that Bill Bedenbaugh at University of Oklahoma pulled in over the last 2 weeks. It's been a good time for Bill. Bedenbaugh has been doing it. So I want to talk about these 3 recruits that he just picked up over the last 2 weeks. We got June 27th. He had Heath Uzzeita, who decided that Oklahoma is the place for him. Now, Heath, 6'5", 6'6"-ish, 265-pounder out of, Snoqualmie, Washington. Mount Si is the school. But I believe he also has roots in Oklahoma. So being in Washington now, he spent time in Oklahoma before. He can play offensive line and defensive line. 3-star recruit. Dude is a monster. The 3 stars do not do him justice. I've been doing some digging and research on his videos, looking at his movement, his ability to attack the ball on the defensive side as well as protect the quarterback. I think he has something there. And one thing that jumped out to me the most about him is Oklahoma is definitely going after high IQ guys. They're going after the guys that not only have high football IQ, but also have the ability that can go with it. And I say that as no shade to any other recruit, but Ozaeta was being recruited by Stanford. And if there's anything you know about schools like Stanford and Notre Dame, they're traditionally recruiting guys that they know can get into their school, as they rarely give exception to bringing people in to the school due to their academic standards. That's just who they are. Some Big Ten schools have the same tendency as well, but that's a really big deal to me when you look at the 3-star piece of it. Just because he's a 3-star, it doesn't mean that he can't be developed into 4s and 5s. That's what's made Oklahoma so special, especially with Bedenbaugh there. They've been able to bring in recruits that were 3 stars and sent them to the NFL. One great example for you, Cody Ford with the Buffalo Bills. He's in the NFL. He was a 3-star recruit. That's a big deal. And I think Heath is going to be able to bring in something else to the table around development and work ethic and honestly understanding the game at a different level than most of the competition. High IQ in the game is critical in not only development, but performance. And when you got guys that, like I said, can be considered 3 stars, but walk in there with that high IQ and it can adapt quickly, shoots up into 4 and 5-star status. He may not have the measurables for what gets you that 4 and 5-star immediately, but the skill set is a different story. Next up, this Friday, Oklahoma got a big surprise, and I thought this was a really big surprise to me, especially how quickly it came out, was Caden Green. Caden Green decided that Oklahoma is where he needed to be. Bill Bedenbaugh did another magnificent job of recruiting this youngster. 4-star out of Lee Summit, Missouri. Went to Lee Summit North. 6'5", 315. Doesn't look it. He looks like he's pretty thin, kind of lean 315, which is the one thing I loved about Tyler Guyton. And I think that he can be something special if he develops into a player that can crack the rotation and dominate. I think at left tackle at his size, he can do it. Same thing with Caden Green. Cool thing about him, though, is he can play both sides of the tackle. He can play left and right. And it's believed he can also convert right into guard, which I've heard some linemen in the past on a few other podcasts make mention that linemen can go from tackle to guard pretty easily, but it's rare that a guard goes to tackle. And I think it's more so footwork and IQ and all of that jazz. So I'm not sure what that is. You have to ask an offensive lineman. I've heard this from a few actual former NFL linemen say this and some coaches, but it's kind of a fascinating thing. I haven't had a lineman myself I can ask. We'll get to that point. But Caden's a beast. I watched his footage from some of the camps, and he was pancaking. He was pancaking in one-on-one drills. He was throwing people to the side. He wasn't letting them throw him off. I mean, based upon the recruiting analysis, he probably would do better if he could get lower and make sure he doesn't overextend himself, because it does look like he rushes into it. But when I watched him pulling on runs in his highlights, that's not an easy thing to do at all, especially at his size. So it looks like there is a bunch of athleticism in there that's going to make him jump and make him probably develop a lot faster too. I was in a Twitter space last night by Travis Davidson, big OU. He kind of runs like the OU rumors and news Twitter spaces or whatnot. And he had both Heath and Cayden in there talking. They basically were answering some questions from fans and people around there, as well as the 24/7 crew. Parker, as well as Brandon, was there chopping it up with them too. But just listening to them talk, I was like, okay, I like this. I like what I'm hearing. They're thinking about the long term. They're thinking about the fact that OU produces linemen. They're infamous for it. I mean, they produce some of the highest rated linemen in Madden. I mean, hell, Creed's going to be a 99 if I'm correct. I mean, yeah. Creed Humphreys, baby. Oklahoma Shawnee. He's out there doing it. That's what Oklahoma produces on the line. So because of that, we can expect more linemen really considering that, and Oklahoma being more selective of the ones that they take. Specifically because you got to have the right type of guy that's got the right mentality to run through Oklahoma. Without that, last night added one more big jump to me in what Oklahoma's doing, and that is Logan Howland. Logan is out of Princeton, New Jersey. Hun School is a school he went to up there. 3-star. But he's 6'7", 289. 6'7". My guy Ty Hayes over at Around the Table Sports Show on YouTube. Please check him out. He was talking about Logan and how you really can't teach 6'7". You can teach skills to go with that 6'7" and make them good. He picked Oklahoma because of the strong track record of bringing senior players to the league. And what makes that significant in that is that Iowa was recruiting him. And Iowa's infamous in the Big Ten of producing offensive linemen. Go look at Iowa offensive linemen that went to the NFL and defensive linemen. They be producing dudes. That's something the school is infamous for. That's their conveyor belt when it comes to that. And so for me, when I see a school that's a conveyor belt for certain positions and other schools take their recruits, that's a big deal. That's just like if Iowa was to steal away a lineman that was heavy on Oklahoma. That tells me that lineman's going to be good regardless of either school he goes to. But the fact that both schools who have a great eye for linemen decided to take them, Wisconsin's another one as well. They have an eye for linemen. And Nebraska used to be. That was felt like O-line U for years, especially in the 90s. If you're getting players like that, I'm telling you, that's the thing to look out for. Look out for, especially in the star ratings. If you look at the star ratings and you feel like, oh, it's a 3 stars, a 2 stars, you don't feel like it's as special as you want it to be, look at who's recruiting them. Stanford going after Heath. Iowa going after Logan. That tells me something. That tells me a lot about their character, about the type of player that they potentially can be, and the sites that they could end up getting pushed towards the pro. That's like the potential's there. And that's all that matters. You're recruiting on potential. You're not recruiting on guarantee. So, because it looks like Logan is also coachable, he's going to be a monster. And I also saw that this man played tight end as well as defensive end in high school. 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 6 total catches on the offensive side of the ball. And he had 4 tackles, 4 loss, 4 sacks, and 21 total tackles when he played defensive end. He's athletic. Go look at him. He looks like he's a lot smaller than 285, but he's also 6'7". You can't teach that. But it's a great feature to have in an offensive lineman. Now, as long as we go, Jackson Arnold gets in there, even Dylan Gabriel, if he's still around at that point, Nick Evers, which Nick is actually pretty tall. You're going to want, of course, a tall quarterback or someone that can scramble. With this athleticism, if they produce and grow to what you want them to be, oh my goodness, you can have something special. But that's kind of what you're recruiting off of, his potential anyway. So hopefully these boys all pan out. So with that, thanks for tuning in on Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation, talking OU football. Please like, subscribe, rate, review, do all of that jazz. Share, because sharing is caring. as well as tune in. I've got another video for another recruit here on Sunday that actually just committed a couple hours ago while I was out. Gonna get that video out for you all. You're gonna be excited about it. We'll chop it up with you all in a few days. Peace.